VeronikaTulaeva, a researcher of Indian philosophy and culture. Everything we've been discussing today has always come back to these 2 points: philosophy and culture. Veronika.
Good evening. Yes, I'll try to be brief. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'd like to talk about why, in principle, the cooperation between our countries makes sense and has future prospects. You see, the thing is, the Roman civilization fell because its values and morals collapsed. There's also the legend of the ancient civilization of Atlantis, which was even more advanced than our own civilization, our humanity. And accordingly, it also fell and self-destructed because its values collapsed. And what do we see that our countries, India and Russia, have in common? It's our very strong values, specifically our spiritual values. It is for this very reason that our cooperation makes sense. Because as Vladislav Vladimirovich mentioned, the pursuit of the material is doomed. It's doomed to fail. And thank you. When there is no foundation, when there's nothing profound, no inner source, no connection to the spirit, to spirituality, to the divine, to a higher power, then everything simply leads to destruction and self-destruction. And in both Russia and India, despite the differences, the religious, traditional, and everyday differences, despite a multitude of differences, we have common values. These are first and foremost honor and dignity. If we read the epic literature of both India and Russia, these values are always a common thread running through them. Then there's inner strength and courage. Very strong family and traditional values. And what I really like is that in both India and Russia, femininity is valued in women and masculinity in men. That's something that isn't present in all countries these days. And our women, just like Indian women, love to dress up. They love to express their beauty. And I believe that beauty will save the world. And in this regard, India and Russia are very much looking in the same direction. And I also want to note that both India and Russia are multinational. Our countries are multi-ethnic, multilingual, and also multi-religious. And despite this, both of our countries have national unity. That is, despite such significant differences between regions, we maintain a unity of the nation. And I believe that this is a very strong quality in both countries. It speaks to a very strong foundation, a very strong national bedrock, and that is why our connection can be very strong and promising. That is precisely why when I often travel to India, I feel this way myself. And as many of my friends say, we feel at home. Yes, it might be a bit crowded, a bit chaotic, something unfamiliar to us. But nevertheless, there's a very warm, pleasant atmosphere. And this indicates that we truly have some kind of deep connection, precisely at the level of values. And as Vladislav Vladimirovich also mentioned, there are indeed studies showing that we have common roots. This can be seen in the commonality of our languages. That is, the ancient Indian language of Sanskrit and the old Russian language belong to the same language family. And even now, with our Russian language, I believe up to 15% of our roots are shared with the Sanskrit language. So indeed, is it very likely, even more than likely, that we had a common ancestor. Therefore, I believe we are like one family. That is precisely why our interaction makes sense. And it will bear fruit, and we need to take this into account. We also see that there is always interest. We are interested in India. Yes, the food is spicy for us, but we find it interesting. We try it anyway. We are interested in the bright colors, the clothing, the culture, the literature. Often, our people undertake certain journeys, so to speak, in a spiritual search, in search of answers to, how to put it, what the essence of life is. And from the Indian side, there is the same interest. By the way, I was very pleasantly surprised that India remembers our heroic deed against Nazism and greatly values our contribution, the high price we paid for that victory. They know about this. And despite the fact that Indians read Western media in English now, nevertheless, they do not succumb to propaganda. That is, Russophobia does not affect them, meaning the deep, warm relationship, the kinship, is still preserved. So I want to conclude briefly that if there is any future for our humanity, for our civilization, it lies only with our countries and their interaction. Thank you.